Good to see you guys here. I actually thought it might be a few less. The shows are getting quieter because I assume it's the summer. Oh, lush! Got some gang of mopeds, teenagers. Can you hear them?
Yeah, I certainly heard that.
I'll just let them go by. Hang on.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'll try to keep a cool head despite the temperature inside the studio.
Awesome. Sorry about that. Yes, that's great, One Media. All of my windows are open, as you can tell. So apologies about that. But yes, thank you for coming, guys. Sundays, Promote Your Post show, very quiet. Mondays, Whaleshares Curation show, very quiet as well. I guess it is just the season. But hey, can't blame anybody. We should all be on the beach right now, sipping pina coladas or something. I don't know. But thank you anyway for coming. Good to see you. So tonight, usual structure. I'm going to hand over to Walrus, who's going to give us an update in a minute about Whaleshares, what's been going on. Sounds like there's some interesting stuff that's happened this past week, and Walrus is going to tell us about that. Then I shall hand over to Chief Mapster, who's going to give us another edition of his very good tasting coffee and crypto, and he's got his own show now, which he has Wednesdays yesterday, and it was a great show too. So I'll be handing over to him after Walrus, and then I shall be talking to my guest of the week, which this week is Bushkill. A lot of you will know Bushy. Great guy, interesting guy. He's into a number of things. I think in terms of my understanding of the blockchain, I think maybe we're on the same level because I'm new to all this. He's relatively new to all this. And it'd be interesting to learn more about his crypto journey. So we're going to talk to Bushy a bit later on. And then, of course, we're going to hand over to Savo, and we're going to have a good old music session. Looking forward to that. It's always nice to break the show up with some music, that's for sure. And he's got some interesting guests tonight. Looking forward to hearing more from them. And then, of course, we'll do a bit of community or cruel curation, however you want to look at it. So we'll do that right at the end. So with that said, I think I shall hand over to Walrus, who's going to give us an interesting update about Whaleshares. Walrus, are you there?
I'm here.
What's going on?
All right. Big thing this week is that all the witnesses on Whaleshares were updating to version 2 of the testnet. That removes a bunch of like the hard fork logics and stuff. So we're starting at 0, the version 0.0 or 0.01 or something like that. And removes a bunch of other stuff that we're not using. And so brings us one step closer to launch.
Oh, nice. So this new testnet, how will that work? Will it be the same sort of process again? Do we all transfer over? Do we sign up, or does it just automatically move over to it?
I'm not sure how we're going to work it yet. I'll have to discuss that with and figure all that out. But we're definitely getting closer.
So what sort of gremlins has it sorted out then? Give us a flavor.
The biggest thing will be it'll improve the scalability so that, like, how Steam is constantly having weird problems. Like I know with EasyDex, we're having to do the Steam node. They just get overloaded and they use all kinds of way too much RAM, so you can't run your own node. You have to use a public node, and those get overwhelmed all the time, and just constantly and things go down a little bit. You probably notice the Steam website goes down quite often, stuff like that. So this should help with all those types of problems.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I mean, Steam website often has its moments, doesn't it? Sometimes they can go on quite long, sometimes they're short. But people have set up like mirror URLs, mirror websites, haven't they? So you can still access the Steam blockchain.
Yeah, and even those, unless you got $5,000 a month to spend on running a full node, then you usually got to use a public node. So it's it'll make things a lot better for everybody.
Nice, yeah. Sounds anything that's going to guarantee a smoother experience is always going to be a bonus. Oh, well, that's interesting. Good stuff. Okay, anything else, Wars?
No, that's the big news for the week.
Nice. Isn't there? Let's just quickly move over to EasyDex just briefly. Is there another share drop on the way? Did I hear on the grapevine?
Oh yeah, we're doing share drops every week, and this week we're doing Whaleshares.
Oh, okay. And you're doing share drops every week now, did you say?
Yes, that was the original idea when we started the PB tokens, and so now we're in a position where we can do it every.
Hey, awesome. I've noticed that the EasyDex.pb token is really sort of holding its value now, hanging around somewhere usually between 4 or 5 BTS, which is quite nice. It's completely trumping Beyond Bits and Whaleshares in price at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, those, I don't know what's going on with those markets, but something crazy going on there.
Yeah, definitely, especially with Beyond Bits lately. EasyDex tokens, nice value to them at the moment, which is great. And of course, as we know, well, maybe some of you don't, but a lot of us know that the great thing about the EasyDex.pb tokens is that they do attract these share drops and other crypto to your wallet. There's going to be different schemes rolling out. At the moment, it is share drops. What happens after share drops? Just to clarify, Warris, aren't you going to be moving to another scheme?
Well, we're going to be share dropping market fees, but there'll always be share drops. Like once Whaleshares is done, we're going to be building lots of other chains. So that's part of it. And then PB tokens will quite probably be one of the share drop targets for those. When we list different coins, we give them a discount if they share drop on our token holders, stuff like that. So imagine you'll be getting share drops for quite a while. And we share drop half the market fees we collect on token holders too. So
nice. Bo says, what decides the value actually? Not sure what value he's talking about, Boris.
The value of the token? Value of a token purely is how much people will pay for it.
Yeah, and I guess demand and supply is also an issue in that.
Yeah, well, that affects how people will, how much people will pay for it. So,
how you determine the amount that is needed to issue for it, then, Wars?
Not sure how that I understand. If like when we lowered the distribution, it was because we determined there was too much supply for how much we were getting, so we lowered the distribution, and that increased the helped steady the market price.
Yeah, I mean, there's different things that impact, but it's all about how much people are prepared to pay for a token. But EasyDex is gaining strength, definitely, and it's holding its strength, which is great. Be interesting to see where it goes, because the more bridges that you build on into EasyDex, I guess it's going to gain more in value, but it's going to become more versatile. It's going to be doing different things. And I've never been at the beginning of a decentralized exchange and seeing where it goes. I mean, where do you want it to go, Boris?
I wouldn't say I really have we have like very solid, we like to more go with the flow and see where it goes, roll with the punches type thing.
Yeah, it's a pity that .pb can't be emphasized somehow, because that .pb really is the crux of the token. It really does attract crypto to your wallet. It really does build your portfolio, doesn't it?
That
I didn't catch that, Walrus. What was that? Was that a bird?
I was saying that's our goal.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, well, it's a really unique and exciting token. Enjoying it very much, and looking forward to seeing where the ride goes next. Okay, anything else you want to say lastly, Walrus?
I think that's good.
Awesome. I'm just laughing at Chief Mapster. I think that was a whale sound, actually, Chief. You might be right there. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for that, Walrus. Much appreciated. Right. Okay. Good stuff. And I should mention, by the way, guys, that tonight it is the night in which I'll be giving out, it's not Beyond Bits, it is EasyDex.pb tokens. So you'll get a few of those at the end of the show. So that's nice. Hold on to them. Keep them. Build them. Build on them. And they will do good things for you. Okay, I'm going to move on then. Thanks for that, Boris. To Chief Mapster. Are you there?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, and you finished mowing the lawn, yeah?
Yeah. Got rid of the background music.
Good to hear. How are you?
Good, brother. Just enjoying this beautiful day and, knocking out the work, and I'm just excited for this crypto space. More and more you learn about it and get into it, the more benefits is going to happen and more excited I get. So it's awesome.
Well, this is it. This is exactly it. The more I learn about it, the more exciting it becomes, because the more opportunities there are. You think you've understood an area and you've got it nailed down. You know everything about it, and then something else comes along.
Right, it's incredible, and I think that's another reason. I mean, you got to keep your brain developing and learning new things, and being on top of things is one of the things you have to do whatever space you're in, whether it be law, finance, crypto. So it's good that crypto keeps us on our toes, and we keep new projects are coming out. So it's really nice to see, and I guess related to this, new networks coming out, live networks coming out. It's really cool to see everything come to fruition in this time. It's a cool time to be alive.
Absolutely. And on that note, what have you got for us, Chief?
Well, today I was kind of fitting in with what's going on with the Whaleshares platform, how it's in the test net right now, and we're hoping to see the live net here come soon. So on this episode, we're talking about the transition from test net to live net, and how several blockchain projects have done it recently and are in the process of doing it. So maybe a couple different things what we can do as for the Whaleshares community to make sure we do it successfully, because it seems like making the transition from the test net to the live net is one of the most important things. Besides maybe the ICO or the first impression of networks, this is a really important process of the whole entire process to get these blockchain and cryptocurrencies out there. So I think we definitely got to do it right. So I'm going to be talking about that today.
Nice. Yeah, please do.
All right. Right now, the big ones that if you see most of these blockchain platform ecosystems, such as Tron, EOS, Cardano, NEO, VeChain, Eternity, they are all blockchain, environments which the creators want dApps to be created on it, and also transactions to go through it and different projects to go through it. A lot of them had to come out with a test net first, and they had to raise money or had their token on Ethereum or another network to even raise money to get started. So right now, a lot of these projects are going through the process of getting rid of the test network and moving to the live net. And some of these projects, such as Tron, have done it very well. And then you got EOS is kind of in the middle. VeChain's coming out with a pretty good strategy, and Cardano the same way. NEO is almost flawless. So there's things that we can learn about from these projects to make sure that we do it right here in the Whaleshares community, because we're right in the middle of it right now. As Waller said in the news, there's new things coming out with the test network, so we're getting closer and closer to this live net. So it's a good thing to talk about, and maybe we can learn a couple of things from these blockchain projects. It seems like Tron is one that's getting the most attention recently. They do spend a lot of money on marketing, but they had a big thing that really boosted publicity for their live net and their test net was the countdown. They had a countdown even on Times Square in a billboard to count down the days to the test net and then to the live net. I think for marketing, this is a great idea. And also for the people who are involved in the community, it gives them a date. people need to know a date when these projects are going to come out, so they have something to look forward to. And then as long as the project fits those dates, it gains more credibility for these projects, and they build more relationships and more credibility with their community. So I think that Tron did that excellent. They really they really marketed it really well, and they got more people involved, and they raised a lot of money because of it. And now that they're on their real network, they're doing different things that really attracts attention. So I really think that we can learn from Tron to maybe put a date on some things. I know it's hard for developers, and when you have teams, it's hard to put an exact date on things, but I know from being part of the community and the other side, having a date is incredibly important because it gives a timeline for the people and a call of action to the people in the community so they know what is going to happen, so they can make plans, develop projects, and also tell people about it, because you only have a certain amount of time to get in before this date, and it really helps boost prices of these tokens as well. So, and exactly excites other investors too. So I think that's one thing we can learn from Tron. They did a great job. Let's move on to EOS.
Let me just say, I think, that countdown tactic that Tron uses is fantastic, because it really will build the excitement. And when we're supposed to be getting a month's notice when the testnet becomes the live net. And when we do get that month's notice, I mean, I can't imagine the levels of excitement in that month that I will personally feel. But it'll be just a huge month of promotion.
I totally agree, and I think that's how we're going to get some other investors, other people involved, grow the community, because having a date where people can look forward to is huge. So I'm excited to have that countdown as well, and something that we can learn. And I'm excited to see what this countdown is, and we can talk about it on the show. So I'm really excited to have that countdown. So I appreciate you telling me that. I didn't know we were going to have a month countdown. That's awesome.
We need, and once we do get that month's notice, we need something visual, like Savo says there, going up every day. That maybe a permanent clock somewhere where you just can't escape it.
Yeah, I think maybe we can put a little room in Discord.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, that's awesome. So that's one thing. And after I talk about these few tokens, I'm just going to recap on what we can do to make sure that we make the transition well. So, but I want to move over to EOS. EOS, they made the transition recently in the first week of June, and it seemed like they did a lot of good things and some things that maybe they can improve on. One of the things I think they did a great job is they did tell people it was going to be the first week of June, and some people they did give a date being the first or second, but when it actually came out was a few days afterwards. Some of the tokens have not been swapped recently. So that's something that I would argue that EOS could improve, and we can improve on that as well. So I guess make sure the snapshots of the token holders distribution is done quickly and efficiently, and obviously effectively. And then make sure that if we do give a date, make sure it's a hard date. It's really going to happen that date.
I'm just gonna stop you. I'm sorry to jump in there, but Papix is saying that. Can you see what he's saying?
What did he say?
We're moving to testnet 2 in the next day or so, as Walrus mentioned. They're going to be testing that for a few days. Then there's going to be an announcement of the launch date.
Oh wow, that's great insight right there.
Wow,
amazing!
All in the Freedom Show. See, you bring much value to them.
That's a real exclusive. Absolutely,
a Freedom exclusive coming at you.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for PowerPix for letting us know on Freedom Show. I appreciate that. That's awesome news, because I'm definitely going to share that with some people. Because I know a lot of people have been asking about the timeline. So, and that's one thing it's good to have tentative timelines. So that's kind of what I guess EOS did. But to have a hard date would be great, and that would give a lot of relief to people. Because sometimes some people really do think that it's not coming out, or it's not going to come out for a while. So having a hard date will really put all these anxiety and worries aside.
Absolutely. Okay. Sorry to interrupt you there, Chief.
Oh no, it's perfect.
But it was worth it.
So I'm excited. I know that Walrus and Fuzzy will be on it with the Whaleshares snapshot, how they switch over the tokens, because with EasyDex they've been testing it out, the snapshot, And I think it's really important for us to make sure that our snapshot between the whale stake tokens, everybody getting the correct amount on this new network, that would be something that we need to do very flawlessly, because I know a lot of people have been building up to this because they want to get the certain amount of stake in the network. So I think having this done in an effective way will really help reward the people that have been investing and their time and money into this community, and also will give build more credibility and I guess show what the blockchain environment can do. Because if we can pull off a flawless snapshot on a new blockchain, that's really, really going to give credibility to a lot of people, and to credibility to the Whaleshares, and give a lot of relief to people. So something that I'm excited to see happen, because I know that the team is behind it, and they have the technical skills to do it. So that's one thing I definitely think we need to learn from EOS, do it in a fast and efficient way. And I'm excited to see them do that as well. So that's another thing. Let's see what else we can talk about. The good old VeChain. Some people are familiar with the VeChain. They're kind of a smaller NEO. And NEO has done their transition almost flawlessly. They transitioned from the testnet to the launchnet using the community and using a lot of community testers. They brought in a lot of testers, whether it be public or they hired it. So they hired people to do it as well. So I think what NEO did, if we can maybe find some testers for the network, even if we have to hire them to find any flaws in it, we need to do it ASAP, because that's what they were trying to discredit EOS with, is because they hired a guy to find flaws, but they did it very late. They did it like a week before the testnet, the launch was supposed to happen. And because of that, they paid him over, I think, $150,000 to find these flaws, and he found a bunch of them. And people were writing articles trying to use that as a way to discredit EOS. So I think that NEO learned from that and did it much sooner than what EOS did. And they've been kind of involved with community testers and hired testers from the beginning. So that's good that we're on testnet 2. That means that we made improvements on the first one. But I think keeping the community involved, and maybe even if we have to hire testers, we need to do it as soon as possible, because we need to get rid of any bugs before it goes, because we don't want to have any scalability issues or any UX problems from the beginning. And that's a Walsh is saying that's kind of a problem with setting a hard date until you have everything built. Yeah, and I guess that's one thing that this community, you just got to be transparent with the community. That's one thing I was going to harp on, is some of these projects, Ontology had an open letter. NEO was very transparent. Same with Tron. They put everything on Twitter. EOS was pretty transparent as well. They kept any dates were transparent. Any problems they had were transparent. They were asking for feedback. If any problems came with user experience, they shared it. They weren't afraid to look bad because they have a problem or two. They really owned it and was honest about it. And then the community, that builds credibility with the community, because if you admit a mistake, fix the mistake, and move forward, that really shows honesty from the project and builds credibility. So I think that's one of the biggest things, is being transparent. And that's one thing we can learn from all these projects, is as long as we're transparent, I think it's really going to help a lot of people and allow the project to move efficiently.
Now that's a key point, actually, Chief, because if you don't have that transparency, people then start to doubt, and they mistrust, and they draw wrong conclusions. In fact,
Absolutely, and that seems like this. We're doing a really good job. Walrus comes on your show and talks about the updates, and then also he does it every week, sharing the updates. And I think he puts on a statement, and I really think it's great that we have this transparency. And also, anybody can always go and ask him on Discord about certain questions, and that's something that some of these projects, such as EOS and Tron and VeChain and Cardano, is maybe harder to get in touch with the people behind them, so you don't get the full transparency. They put it out through their social media channels, but it's really nice to be able to ask one-on-one. And for me, that really adds a lot of I have faith, because I know how the kind of person Walrus is and the kind of person Fuzzy is, and the way they answer questions as soon as they can really helps put many anxiety at ease. So it's really awesome that we are being transparent right now, and I just hope that we continue to be transparent.
Oh, I'm sure we will. You know, we've got even shows like this. You know, that even shows like you do. You know, it all helps. You know.
Amen, brother man. So I'm excited that everybody, it's the community that you attract are the people that, you know, very similar to yourself indeed. So Walrus and Fuzzy are really hardworking, transparent individuals. So it makes sense why people that are similar to them are attracted to their community as well. So I think transparency is number one of the things we have to do to make sure that we successfully transition from the testnet to the live net. The other thing that we talked about was, you know, earlier about setting dates and having an action plan. You know, like Walrus said, it's hard because you might not even want to make a date or rushing the release before you're done. So it's really kind of difficult to do this, to make an exact date. But I think giving people the timeline is what we can do, kind of come around that. Give them a checklist of things that you have to do to get done before a certain date. And as long as the community is aware of that checklist, and if something takes a little bit longer, they're going to be more they'll be able to accept it if it does delay. So I think having an action plan that everybody knows, because right now that I'm not sure that if everybody in the community knows the action plan. I know that PowerPix does and Walrus, but it would be nice to have like a step-by-step of what needs to be done before we can be released. I think that would really help a lot of people. But I mean, it's not something we need, but I think it definitely would help us transition successfully from the test net to the live net.
Yeah. Plus, just finalizing the white paper. Nice.
Oh, nice. Perfect. And that's awesome because that gives the overall plan for anybody that needs it. And it also helps us when we're telling other people about Whaleshares is, you know, it's sometimes people hear whale and they think it's just a community that's trying to, you know, make fun of crypto or kind of be one of the, like, because whales and money and to the moon, all this stuff is kind of giving crypto a bad name. So the fact that we have a white paper and the community behind it helps us kind of alleviate that problem. So I'm excited that the white paper is going to be done because that gives more credibility, and then we can hand that white paper to people so they can see the full plan and the full picture of what this community is about and what the blockchain is about. So I'm excited for that.
Absolutely. And do you know what? It is that word, credibility. One Media, would you mind just muting your mic, please? Yeah, it is that word, credibility, because a lot of people need that, because if they don't have that, then they don't have the faith. And with Whaleshares and now EasyDex, there are these communities, there's these Discord servers as well. There's lots of people now, lots of faces to this project, which builds trust, I think.
And I think that's one of the biggest things that we're doing right. It's not anonymous. People are not hiding. They're not answering questions. Like, we're really, the people behind these networks are really doing a great job about answering questions and helping the community figure out what's going on. So I really give them respect for doing that, because it's really helping people like us get fully involved, because we know this is going to happen. We know the people behind it are transparent and good people. So it's really helping grow the community as well as the network here coming in the future. So I'm really proud of everybody doing that.
Yeah, well said.
And then one thing that I think that maybe, I don't know if we've done it yet. We do have a partnership, with EasyDex and Whaleshares, but VeChain, they came out with a partnership with another company called DecentBet. And because when they came out with this from the test net to the live net, and because of that, it really brought a lot of publicity. So maybe something that maybe we can learn from that is there another person, another party, another project that we can maybe partner with to bring more awareness to the Whaleshares chain, because on Steam it's pretty well known about the Whaleshares chain, and the Whaleshares community, EasyDex community, is pretty well known. But I would like to see us reach into a different community, different realm, and see if we can attract some of those people to this community. So I would think that's something that we can talk about as a community and see what people, projects, individuals we can partner with that will bring more awareness once the testnet is done and moved into the live net. So I think having it would be kind of like a spokesperson or a partnership would really help us out a lot once the new net comes out. So I think we should all brainstorm ideas and try to reach out to people, projects, and obviously run everything through Walrus and Fuzzy. But we definitely need to find a partnership to give us more awareness come when the live.
Yeah, but Chief, no, absolutely, I agree. Sorry to jump in, but I think what will happen is once we do get that announcement date and it becomes official, you will see this kind of frenetic activity almost, where people start thinking about things. There'll be a stimulation there purely because of the announcement, and people will start getting on working on their ideas and their concepts and their projects. They'll start reaching out to people. They'll start building on connections and stuff, won't they?
I totally agree. And I think as hard as it is for setting a date, that's one of the reasons why it's important to have one, because we need to build up the publicity, build up the marketing, build up the influence, and start selling this Whaleshares chain. Having a date allows us to reach out to people, because some of these companies and businesses and people want to have a date so they can have a timeline in themselves. So I think, what you said was on point, and I'm excited to see what we can do with it, because we do have a diverse group of people from all over the world. So I'm sure that we can figure something out to help bring more awareness to the Whaleshares chain.
Yeah, I mean that's another good point just to highlight. I've bumped into all sorts of people around the world I would never have had the privilege to meet had I not joined Steam and found Whaleshares. And it's been just 99% positive experiences, no doubt about it. But that group of people, the community itself, it is an international setup, and that's what really, really gives it this fantastic dynamism.
I totally agree. So I think there's no reason why we could not be a successful blockchain environment, because we do have the people from all over the world, and we do have the development, the technicality to do the things we need to do, and the experience. So I think I'm really excited for the growth. I think just people need to figure out about it. So I think that's one thing we can definitely focus on once, like Waller says, that's why we'll have an open beta phase before launching mainnet. That'll give us a little, window into the actual mainnet, and also give any prospective partners or people, investors, a look into the net, because they probably would like to get in before the mainnet comes out, just for price or personal reasons. So I think that's a great thing to hear that Walrus is doing that. I'll have an open beta phase before the launching the mainnet. That's something that I was curious about. So I appreciate you sharing that. And that's another exclusive on Freedom's show.
Do you know what? That one short comment just triggers a whole new debate, but I don't think we can have it now.
We'll save that for another time. But that's incredible. I'm glad that you're providing a lot of value. So that's good to hear.
Awesome stuff. All right, Chief. Anything else?
No, I'll just recap real quick about the things I think we need to do, and then I'm good to go. But so one thing would be, like I said, transparency with dates, problems, user experience, feedback. 2, keep the community involved. 3, have a high level of testing by public and private people. And then 4, develop partnerships to bring awareness and more credibility to the chain. So those are the things I wanted to recap, and I think all of us can do that. And I really appreciate your silky smooth voice and having me on again. And I appreciate everybody here in the audience, and I'm excited for the growth. I'm excited to see what happens, and I'm really looking forward to that month countdown. Yeah,
me too. Absolutely. Thank you very much, Chief. Great segment again, and that recap. I mean, those points that you just raised there, I think that's it. That really is the crux of it. If people can begin to sort of think about those things, work on those, develop them, then we're on the road to success. So fantastic. Okay, yes, some nice exclusives here tonight, which is great. Pleased that you've been a part of it, Chief, and thank you for your segment as always. Great stuff. Good to see you again, Chief. So thanks for coming on the show. Much appreciate it a lot.
Thank you, buddy. And I'm excited for you to talk to One Media with Sabo, because One Media is a guy that has a brain. So I'm excited to hear your interaction with him. He's a good guy.
Well, I had a brief interaction with him just before the show started, actually. Yes, he sounds a very interesting guy. I'm looking forward to speaking with him. And we'll do that a bit later on. But right, okay, I'm going to move on. I shall move on now to the guest of the show, the in conversation part now, and we're going to learn a bit more about a gentleman, and he is a gentleman. I can't say that about too many people, but Bushy is a gentleman. He's a good guy, he's an intelligent guy, and I'm so pleased he's on the show tonight. Bushy, are you there?
I am.
Well, hey, it's good to hear your voice, because I haven't seen you for a while. Where have you been?
Life gets busy, especially summertime here with the bees and work never stops coming in, and life just gets away from you from time. And it's good to be back and being able to be around.
Yeah, well, it seems like you certainly have been busy, and it is. It's good that you have returned. Okay, I'm going to just start, Bushy, by asking you, as I did when I first met you, I think, about your name, because it's the second part that puzzled me a bit, troubled me maybe, because I thought when I first saw Bushkill, I immediately thought roadkill, and I thought, oh, this is a different type of roadkill or something. But it's not. It's nothing to do with that, is it? Can you just tell us what is behind your name?
Yeah, it's basically the area where I live in upstate New York. It was found by the Dutch, and in Dutch, kill is stream or creek, and basically it's a very mountainous area, and it's called the Bushkill Valley, and it just was a name that everybody that grew up in the area always keeps. In fact, my personal business is actually called Bushkill Ventures. I guess it's just a proud heritage of people that grew up in this area.
Oh, okay. All right. Nice. Thank you for explaining that. I want to ask you, as I always do, people, but I don't want to sort of dwell on it, but I do want to just briefly ask you, how did you come across Steemit?
Kind of an interesting story. I was actually, interested in cryptocurrency. I had bought some Bitcoin back in 2014 and just hodled it. Didn't know it was hodling at the time, but it was like didn't know what to do with it, right? So that was the default. And I was just, starting to pick up and getting more interested in it. So I was on my podcast catcher thing, just searching for crypto podcasts and stuff, and Beyond Bitcoin popped up. And I, started listening to it, and I'm almost ashamed to say this, but the first I started listening to it, and Fuzzy and I don't know who was at the time we're talking, and I'm like thinking to myself, "Oh, this is really underground, man. They're using synthesizers to hide their voices." And then it came up to me that no, they're not. That's their real voices. But that was my first impression. And then it was like taking a foreign language class. Everything was like foreign to me, but I just kept with it, listening week to week. And back at that time, I think they were doing it on Fridays on Mumble, which I would tune into at work, and then it got moved to Saturdays and went off my list of things to do. And then a few months later, at that time, everything, well, maybe it still is, was all announced on Steemit. So from listening and watching that show, I ended up going to Steemit to see what they were talking about. And basically that's how I got introduced to Steemit. At the time, I did a couple searches on beekeeping, and it was like, 2 or 3 posts, and, the highest one maybe got 2 cents. And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then towards the end, a few months later, I decided to get involved. And, the rest is history. I stumbled across your show, and give a lot of credit to you and the Whaleshares community at the time to keep me invoked. And it was a great bunch of people, and I just have tried to be here ever since.
Right. So it was the Beyond Bit hangouts that brought you over to Steemit. Is that it? Yeah, exactly. Wow. Okay, that's interesting, because people find their way to Steemit in all sorts of different ways. But that's great that you started hanging around the Beyond Bits hangout, and then obviously brought you onto Steemit. Were you reluctant then to try Steemit to begin with? Was there a kind of I don't know, a timidness or something?
No, not really. It was just I like to share knowledge. I hate writing, and it's always a chore to put a post in and stuff. But I mean, it was the right time last fall. I mean, prices were way up, and when you first come on, there's a bunch of communities that really jump into the minnows. Your first couple introduction and all that. And I mean, my first couple posts within 5 posts, one of them I made like $70, and I'm like, holy crap, man, this is great. And obviously the price has drastically gone down since then, but that surely did keep me invoked, and I was long enough to meet the community. And then at this point, the Steemit price and stuff doesn't really matter to me.
Well, this is it. You see, when you get that great surprise, you see your post and it hits the roof, and it's like, wow! It just gives it a whole new meaning, doesn't it? Blogging, and that's clearly what's happened. But what I want to ask you is, what was the first post you ever put up? I'm not talking about your introductory post to say who you are, but what was your first sort of substantial post that you put up? Did you know immediately what you'd be blogging about?
Yeah, I mean, I've been in the beekeeping internet community for, I think 2004 was the first started our first online forum, which is still active today. It's the largest one geared towards backyard and hobbyist beekeepers. So, I've always been involved in the technology and beekeeping. Up until 10 years ago, the average age of a beekeeper was probably 65, and 98% of them were male. So there wasn't a lot of activity or technology as far as beekeeping on the internet. So I ended up helping these clubs out, and I host 3 or 4 county beekeeping club websites and stuff like that. So I've always been involved in the internet and beekeeping, just been splattered all over the place. Had my own sites through the years, and I looked at Steemit as a central place where maybe I could start putting all my stuff where people, from all genres can come and see it, and maybe bring some of the beekeeping community to the platform. And then once I got started, and actually your show, it dawned on me there's a lot of people that are intrigued by bees, want to know about bees, but don't have the means to keep them, or their areas they can't. And that's when I started the Beekeeping for Everyone, where I tried to walk through the basics and just educate people that were intrigued and interested, but really couldn't do it. And it went from there.
Well, yeah. I mean, I do remember when you first started coming to my show, and I remember thinking, just being completely sort of in awe of what you do, and being fascinated about the whole beekeeping thing. I'd never really come into contact with it, let alone close contact with it. And to find someone who was, there we were talking about it, you were blogging about it, and all these pictures. I mean, it was crazy, but that's the thing about Steemit, you can find interests you never knew you had. And for me, beekeeping was definitely one of them. I mean, I'm that tempted, should I ever retire maybe to the countryside, I probably will now, because of you, have some bees. I mean, that's your influence there, Bushy.
If I can affect one person, it's worth the effort.
Well, this is it. But I think, because you say that your day job is that you are a hardware developer. Yeah, is that it?
Yes.
Okay, so that occupies your day work. You're a computer hardware developer. How did you therefore get into the beekeeping? Where did it start?
At about age 7, my dad was a small-scale commercial beekeeper, and at that time I didn't want to do it, and didn't want to be. As a kid, you never want to do anything that requires work, and I did it and stuff, and kind of wore into me. And then my dad started to get out of it. And in high school, my girlfriend and myself at the time, I had about 25 hives with a local orchard. And we basically took care of the hives, and all the honey that I made, he bought and took to. He had a farm stand in New York City. He'd go down to on the weekends, and he basically bought every drop of honey that we could produce and sold it down there. And so I had a little side business of beekeeping, and that all went away when I went away to college and basically got out of it. And then once I got out of college, got my full-time job, got married, bought a house, and it was like the early starts of all the issues with bees and stuff. And I said, I'd like to get a hive or two for the yard, and just nice to have around. And, it's like I always tell people that get involved in beekeeping, and they're going to set up their yard for 2 hives. I'm like, you make plans, because anybody that gets into it never can stop at 2, and it's a very addicting hobby. And it went from there. And I don't really do a lot of honey. It's more of a side thing of what I do. I do more bee breeding and genetic type studies and works on that. So yeah.
Andy wants to know, how many times have you been stung by a bee?
Each bee can only sting you once.
See, I hear this, and it's sad, really, because the bee is prepared. Isn't it right that if it stings you, it will die itself, or is that not right?
Yeah, honeybees, their stinger is actually barbed, so when it goes into you, it's got like little fish hooks on it that it basically anchors itself into you, and when you either pull the bee away or they pull off, it basically rips their whole intestinal and inside stay with the stinger mechanism, and they're the rest of them goes off to die without any internal parts. Yellow jackets, hornets, and the wasp family, and even bumblebees, they have just a regular needle stinger, so they can sting you, pull it out, and sting you again, and go on their business and sting somebody else. But honeybees can only sting once. To answer his question, I've been stung a lot. Part of that, I had Lyme disease about 4 years ago, really bad, neurological. I was losing my vision and stuff, and part of what I did for treatment was bee venom therapy, and I was stinging myself upwards to 12 at a time, 2 or 3 times a week.
Really? So there's a medicinal value then to a bee sting. Is that what you're saying?
Oh yes, there's it's considered unconventional, so the medical industry doesn't support it, and it's unofficial and all that other stuff. But there are a lot of bee venom therapy. People with MS get great relief from it. And there's a woman now who actually I worked with. She's like I don't know if you want to call her the mother. She trained under the guy that was what they call the father of bee sting therapy in the U.S. And traveled all over the world. She now is on a big helping with Lyme disease, but she's flown all over the world to treat people with cancer and everything else that people have never walked in their life, and it's miraculous.
Well, I was just about to ask you. I was just about to say, other than Lyme disease, what else can bee stings treat?
Like I said, people with MS get great relief. She's had people with cancer, pretty much a lot of things. Basically, high level, the principle is a lot of these diseases that people have, it's because of their immune system shutting down. And the bee sting therapy basically awakens your immune system to allow it to attack these diseases and viruses that the body has. So it's not actually the bee venom that's killing these things. It's the bee venom that's waking up your immune system.
Okay. I never knew that. I mean, this takes beekeeping to a whole new level. But that's fascinating. But she never seen a post on that, but maybe you should consider it. But wow, I mean, bees just gain more and more respect from me every time you speak about them. But that's fascinating. But I mean, like you say, the medical profession, I'm assuming, would be reluctant to kind of give the green light for that kind of medicinal approach. But do you ever see a time where they might change?
I don't know, and I don't want to get too political here, but the modern medicine isn't about healing, isn't about fixing your problem. It's about medicating you to counteract the issues you have, so that they can keep selling you medication to keep it in control versus just fixing the issue. So it's a lot of it's driven by the pharmaceutical companies, and if there's nothing that they can patent and make money off of, they're not going to stand behind it or push it.
Well, this is weird. Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. I mean, when I go back to when I was doing my law degree, one of my law lecturers said to me, is it in the interests of pharmaceutical companies to have a healthy nation? And it's not in their interests, in the interest of their profits at all, is it?
No. And not to get off track again either, it's not in Monsanto's interest either to have plants that you can reproduce and make your own food from. They're trying to patent everything, and even farmers can't even save their own seed and plant it because they find traces of the DNA of the Monsanto plants, and then they get fined for that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, like you said, let's bring it back to beekeeping. In actual fact, I think I'm going to move on to your Whaleshares journey. But I do want to ask one more thing about the beekeeping, because I remember seeing some of your photography. By the way, have you brought anything with you you want to put in the chat? Feel free to do that. But I remember seeing some of your beekeeping photography, and you got these macro close-ups. And I asked you, were you wearing your protective suit for that, the protective clothing, whatever it is? And you said no, quite calmly. For me, I wouldn't dream of doing that. But is it because of the fact that you've had years of experience now that you know what to do? You've got that confidence, so you can get ultra close to bees, and you don't have to wear the clothing. Is that what it is? You've just got the confidence now.
Well, I guess I'll throw the question back at you. Do you have any different expectation when you see a honeybee versus a wasp, right? I mean, that's the problem. The fear comes from people know wasps and hornets, and they can be very aggressive and come right after you, and everybody assumes that a flying insect, a bee is the same as a wasp. And it's not the case. The bumblebees and honeybees are, pretty much vegetarian. They live off of nectar, off of plants and stuff. They're not hunters and have to be aggressive. So, I mean, yeah, they will sting you, but only in a defensive mechanism when they feel
yes, no, pushy, absolutely. I mean, over here, we mainly get the bumbles. So they're the main bee that we get are the bumblebees. And I know exactly what they look like, and I can completely differentiate them from a wasp. I hate wasps with a passion. They're evil, very sly, clever creatures, actually, but they will go for you, and they'll wait for you and then go for you again. They're quite sly like that. But with bees, I never touched them. I mean, when I was a kid, I may have unfortunately whacked one, but now if ever I see a bumblebee, I won't touch it. I will help it, because there's this campaign over here that they're kind of I don't know whether they're an endangered species or not, but there is this protective campaign because bees are great, and if you don't touch them, generally they'll just move on and do their thing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, all the native pollinators, the bumblebees, the mason bees, the sweat bees, and all of them, they're all being affected by the stresses on the environment, whether it's, the pesticides or just anything that, we've done, changing climate or whatever. They're all being affected by it. That's why we're trying to do what we can to help all insects. It's not just the honeybee.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I'm still quite. I'm still trying to absorb the medicinal aspect of the bee sting. I find that absolutely fascinating, and I think we need to do tons more research into that. It's like homeopathy, people will push it aside. I think it has a genuine medicinal value, homeopathy. I'd like to think that bee stings do as well. There's all these different alternative medicines out there, which needs more research, I think, but fascinating to learn about the bee sting. So that's
just one more point on that. The woman that I deal with, she's actually a licensed acupuncturist, and she uses the acupuncture points, but instead of using needles, she uses the bee stings.
Oh, wow, really? I mean, but isn't that going to kill a lot of bees?
Yeah, I mean, it kills, their die-off rate. I mean, the bees only live 6 to 8 weeks this time of year, and, a queen can lay 2,000 eggs a day. So, you stinging yourself, it doesn't, even if you took 100 bees a day from a hive this time of year, it has really no effect on them, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Okay. You've got to look at that wider picture. Sure. Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, if you've got any pictures, please whack them up. But I'm going to move on, unless you want to say anything else about bees before I do.
No, I'm good.
Well, I've got
actually, yes, Freedom. I'll do another exclusive on your show. How's that?
Oh yeah, please keep them coming.
You ever heard of Bert from Bert's Bees?
Bert, you saying?
Yeah, Bert's from Bert's Bees. He was a international star on a guy with the beard. Was a beekeeper from Maine. Maybe he's not an international star. I know he traveled to Japan. They were all loving him. But anyway, Bert from Bert's Bees is now a multi-million-dollar corporation owned by Clorox. Bert was just a hippie that started bees and got this whole thing going. My dad actually taught him beekeeping, and he actually got his first hives and spent the winter in our basement in the 70s getting everything ready. And then that's the story of his journey to, becoming an international beekeeping star. But anyway, I usually don't share much of that because but I figured since you're such an exclusive show that I would share it with you guys.
So what's his brand? People are saying it's lip balm or something?
Yeah, he did. There was a whole cosmetic range, but it was like all natural, made from beeswax and stuff. He was a hippie that lived in a cabin, and he actually moved out. He moved out of this area in New York because he didn't want to pay the taxes. And my dad found him a flatbed truck, loaded his 7 hives on it, and he drove up to Maine and lived in Maine in a cabin with he was a multi-million-dollar guy at some point. He still lived till his final days in a cabin with no electricity or running water.
Oh wow! So he led that hippie lifestyle right up to the end, then.
Yeah, let me see if I can. I'll pop a link.
Yeah, amazing. Well, Chief just put one up actually. Do you know what I have heard? Do you know what? It rings a bell. Bert's Bees and cosmetics. I think I have seen it around, but I have to say it's not hugely popular over here. But yeah, no, I have seen that brand around. I think his icon is, do you know what? It's the logo I might be remembering. Was it literally that yellow and black bumblebee or bee? Was that the logo or not? Have I just imagined that?
No, it was a picture of him. I'll grab it. Maybe you'll recognize.
Well, that's mental that he created this huge cosmetics market and still wanted to live, the hippie lifestyle in his little.
Well, the interesting fact is he became famous for the look and the name. It was actually the girlfriend that he met that was the business savvy one and made it what it was. I mean, he's dead now. He just died last year, but I don't want to bash him too much. But he was a pretty lazy, ornery guy. So it was his image that got and her hard work.
Well, yeah, if it's cosmetics, it makes sense that that it was a woman who pushed it. But okay, awesome. Right, going to move on, Bushy. I want to know a little bit more about your Whaleshares journey now. So you found the Beyond Bits Hangout. That brought you onto Steemit. Was it almost immediately after you joining Steemit that you came over to Whaleshares on the Discord network?
Yeah, as best I can remember. I mean, it might have been a week or two, but it was pretty quick.
And what for you has been the striking feature of the Whaleshares community?
It's the community. I mean, I don't know if you remember, probably not because you see so many things, but when I was first here, maybe about a month or so, Krista ran a contest about what the Whaleshares community means to you, and I actually put a post out, and it was a bunch of people, right? I couldn't really limit it down. I mean, it was you, Krista, PowerPix, Accurate. Everybody was anxious to help me out and do, encourage me and was there answering questions and would assist me as needed. And I'm, I like to learn and it's great to have people that are willing to spend the time to help people learn. And then just your show, the people, Karen's and, Crystal and everybody every week, Jack was a big supporter of me. It was just very encouraging and really keeps people going.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think a lot of people would say exactly what you just said, Bushy. But you've also been quite involved in some of the projects. Like I think you used your developing skills to build the Whaleshares.info website. Am I right?
Yeah, because then I after I was in the community a while, it was a lot of people coming in at that time and trying to introduce them to Whaleshares and, trying to give them a few Whaleshares to try out, but they didn't have BitShare accounts. And how do you walk people through that? And that's when it came to me. I was like, well, I need to write a post and because everybody was giving different links and stuff. And, I realized that blockchain is immutable and that's a good thing, but it's not good for everything. And there was like how-to posts that had expired. Things changed. So then they come out with a, latest or updated version. Well, in a few weeks, that's outdated and locked. So it's like this cyclic. There's a ton of information out there. 3/4 of it is outdated and there's nothing you can do about it. So I said, instead of doing another post that's going to get old, why don't I just create a Whaleshares info website where I walk through all the steps visually of creating the accounts and sending Whaleshares and all that other stuff that could be, sent people to, and it will walk them through. And when changes happen, we can update it. And it wasn't shortly thereafter that the new Whaleshares chain was announced. So that whole site was geared towards using Steemit and stuff. So I, basically ceased all future work on that until, the new chain came out. And I guess I'll continue on. Accurate and Jepu were putting his hub together that was going to be consolidating a lot of things that they were doing. And we had in the discussion, it's like, part of the thing with the community is make it simple and have one place to go. So, we decided what's the best thing is to combine our efforts. So I already had a domain in the server. So what they were calling the hub, we basically combined with my server, and what I had just became the fact of that, the FAQ section of that. And that's what's there today. Taking it a little step further and sharing a little bit more information with you. Coming with the new chain eventually. I'm sure a lot of folks know Enrico. He does all the artwork and stuff. He has this vision of what we're calling Whale Book, which is going to be a centralized place for information for people on the Whaleshares chain. I mean, we've all heard that, the whales are going to have their own tokens and things like that. So this would be a place where, right now it's just a vision. We're working on it, but it would be a place where you could go and see all the whales, maybe a little bio about them that they can update, what their intentions are with their token, what the value of that token is, but a centralized place to pull all that together. So that's coming. Right now, all the focus from the developers are on the main chain, so it's not going to be there at launch, but it will be coming, thereafter.
Well, that is great to hear. I think that's a great idea as well. That will be really useful, Bushy. And just going back to what you said, actually, the how whaleshares.info came about. You're right. Steam and blogging is great, and it can pump out tons of information out there and get it out into the ecosystem. But it has this problem with a kind of time lock on it, doesn't it? And as the days and weeks go by, information can become redundant. It needs to be updated. You can only do so much of that sort of stuff in posts, and you're never going to get everybody to see that anyway. So it was a good idea, I think, to consolidate all of that, have it centralized in one place, in a website as you develop the whaleshares.info website, and it's been a source, I think, of real benefit to a lot of people, and it was needed. It really was needed, because, as I say, blogging can only pump out so much information and advice. That centralized website that you created has been extraordinarily useful. And in terms of the aesthetics, it's really nicely done. I love the style. How long did it take you to build that?
What you see there now, Jepu built. I didn't do that work, but just the FAQ was my stuff. So it took him. They worked on it a couple weeks, I think, before they were ready. So, the credit to what you see on the main site and all that goes to Jepu, not me. One other thing I'd like to add, though, about the whale book is there is plans to have a witness running on the chain that's going to, support the activities of the whale book site. And that's going to basically supersede what you see now on whaleshares.info. So that site will go away and will be covered in this new whale book site that'll be much more linked into the main chain. It's going to have the same look, Enrico doing all the graphic work and stuff will be consistent with Whaleshares. So it'll be much more integrated feel and look with the Whaleshares chain once we're up and running.
Okay, so will the URL be Whalebook then? Is that what you're saying? Is whaleshares.info going?
Yeah, it hasn't been decided yet. So that would be it'd be a good guess, but I mean we haven't hashed that out yet. But that would be my guess. Yeah, and Walrus brought up that the vote token stuff is going to be automated, so that's going to make it. All the information you need to understand. So, sort of like you can go to whaleshares.net and you can see the value of the BitShares and Whaleshares, the voting power and stuff. That'll all be and now that we're going to have, a lot more tokens, it'll be a lot easier to have one central place where you can see all the values and such.
Yeah, that will be very useful, particularly as I will be having my own token. So that will be great. And I only spoke to Fuzzy about this the other day, actually, about this automaticity or the functionality or whatever you want to call it, because I didn't know whether it would be a manual process. But no, he has reassured me that there will be an automated process for my token, at least anyway, and for a lot of other tokens. So that's great. That will help a lot for sure. Okay, well that's another exclusive you just given us, Bushy. So thank you. I think Whalebook sounds a great idea. Can't wait to see that one come to fruition. Looking forward to that one very much. Right, I think I'm going to have to slowly wrap up, really, Bushy. We've been at it a while now. Going to have to hand over to Savo. But yeah, sorry, were you coming in?
Yeah, I just want to drop one more thing, if you don't mind.
Sure, go ahead.
So I'm also running a witness myself, and I'm just going to drop a link on the Whaleshares talks about what I'm doing, and I plan on having a vote token as well. So I'll just leave it at that, and you can go. It's pretty well defined, my approach and what I'm using it for, and a lot of it has to talk about reviews what I talked about tonight, anyways.
Oh, nice. Yeah, please. Let's have a link. Oh, it's not doing the. Hang on, I'll get it.
So I'm also working with the other witnesses. As you know, a few weeks ago we had an outage that was almost a week long, and I don't think any of us want to see that once the chain is active. So I'm kind of heading up a retrospective with the other witnesses to try and put together that we have a better plan and communication, and basically a best practices guide for the witnesses, so that we can address these things in a timely manner and hopefully not affect the users at all, and be transparent as we can about it.
Is your witness account up and running at the moment or not?
Yeah, no, it's been running for a while now. Yeah,
but I haven't given you my vote at all, have I?
I don't know. At this point, I think there's 13, or I think we're using 10, but 13. But I mean, at this point, I think all the people that are running witnesses should have your vote, because these are the folks that have been, dedicating their time and resources with no compensation to make sure this happens. So,
no, absolutely, I agree. I totally agree. But what I'm saying, Bushy, is I haven't seen your witness account.
Okay. Well, I just posted. There's the link on the beta that talks about it. But I would encourage everybody to vote for the witnesses. That all the witnesses are there, going forward. And that's the other thing on the whale books that we're looking at. Well, I hate to take more of your time, but so I'm trying to do this, put together this best practice for the witnesses. And one of the things different between the Whaleshare witnesses and the Steemit witnesses, I think there's an expectation that the witnesses are more community-based and do things for the community. It's not just about producing blocks and getting paid for it. So part of the whale book thing is going to be a place for witnesses to come and do their bio, and just same thing as things are going to change through time. It's a central place where you can go and see what each witness is about. Obviously, it's not going to be the definitive thing that you need to go there to decide who to vote for, but it's another thing of information. And I'm also working with the folks with this, try to come up with we haven't figured out how yet, but this best practices and some kind of metric on the witnesses that we can keep on the whale book, so that people can go out and see, what witnesses are reacting quickly to necessary updates or changes or missing blocks and stuff like that. Once again, just another piece of information to help you with your decision, not a conclusive, look at the top and these are the people to vote for, but just to give the information that people can use in this consolidated place to help them make their decisions.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You just worried me there. No, I've been voting for you for a long time. I forgot you're called BBQ Iguana, aren't you?
Yes, and I did that for a reason, because on the new chain, one of the problems I have with Steemit and being involved in Whaleshares is the people in my beekeeping community that I'm trying to bring to the platform look at my blog, and it's confusing to them with some beekeeping stuff and a lot of other non-beekeeping stuff. So on the new Whaleshares chain, I'm going to use Bushkill for all my beekeeping stuff, so I can bring people that aren't familiar with the platform from the beekeeping community to the platform, and they can get an introduction by seeing all my beekeeping stuff, and then explore the rest of the platform versus being, coming and seeing Whaleshares. What is that, and stuff like that. So that's the reason I did.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Okay. Good. Well, I'm glad I have been voting for you, so that's good. Right. Well, thank you very much for that, Bushy. It's been a great talk. I've learned tons more about bees, got more respect, even more respect, and I'm pleased you are a witness on the new chain. I think that whale book is a great idea, by the way. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to just get that link and put it up again for people who might want to know a bit more about you. But this, of course, is just a link to post on the new chain, but there it is. Okay, Bushy, anything you want to say lastly?
Thank you for having me on, Freedom, and let's go Whaleshares.
Yeah, well, this is it. We all want Whaleshares. We want to see all these tokens and these new whales, and we want to see the new ecosystem and people doing great things. I'm sure it will. I'm sure we will, including yourself. And lots to look forward to. So thank you very much for coming on the show. Thank you for taking the time, Bushy. Good to see you again. So awesome stuff there from the one and only Bushy. So I'm going to move on now. It is, of course, time for a little musical relief with Savo. Savo, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hello, Savo. How are you?
Yeah, very fine, very fine. And you?
I'm good, thank you. What have you been up to?
I have today two guests who are exceptional, unique in my eyes. One is One Media, and the other one is Father Earth, who is actually super fresh on the platform of Steemit. So I'm wondering what he thinks of his experience yet. But I want to start with One Media.
Hi,
Awesome.
Savo.
I'll hand over to you.
Hey, One Media, how are you?
Hi, Savo. Yes, thank you for having me on the show. It's been it's quite a surprise to be invited here, and certainly an honor and a privilege and a.
Yeah, you are one guy who, we have done the show together, and you always had something that nobody else had, right? Nobody in the world. What is that?
Okay, good thing you cued me and clued me in before starting this show, because I'd be guessing right now, but I know the topic of conversation for the show is going towards this topic in music that's in general called chiptune, a subgenre of electronic music called chiptune, which is related to, for instance, the old Atari sound or the game sounds, Game Boy sounds, or the chiptune device that I've prototyped in, it's going on 30 years ago. In fact, it was good to hear Bushkill, because I had mentioned in the comments section, I saw road signs for Bushkill Falls somewhere around Pennsylvania, heading north towards the borderline between Pennsylvania and New York. I went to Penn State, and there, as a senior project for electrical engineering degree, I had basically taken a Commodore 64, dissected it. I wrote quite a bit of assembly language programming for the 6502 microprocessor, which at the time was in both the Commodore 64 as well as the Apple II computer. And I basically used 4 times as many sound interface devices. The Commodore 64 had the part number 6581 sound interface device. So I imagine we're going to talk quite a bit about the 6581 sound interface device and this the actual box I put it in, the prototype I refer to as the synth, as an SIN, sound interface device synthesizer. So that's let me type that.
SIT and D, right? I mean, I have some plugin called the same, but yeah, I never really knew this, and when I knew, I totally understand. The sounds you make are only possible with a certain chip, right? You said once.
Well, I guess that's. We could really split hairs about this, because for one thing, it's all sound is essentially an analog experience, and we could get into detail about the infinitesimal differences between sounds, but certainly there aren't very many 6581s out anymore, and very few of the tens of millions of Commodore 64s. The vast majority are gathering dust. Not very many of them are creating sounds with the sound interface device inside. Whereas, I basically built a special piece of hardware that had 4 times as many SIDs and sound interface devices in this box, and they along with the CPU, the 6502 CPU that controls it. But basically that I would say it's a fairly unique sound. Certainly the loop. What makes the unique sounds is the fact that basically it's all programmed in assembly language right now. But I am working on a editor librarian in Python to using the Python language so that on a host computer it could edit and store or organize in a library the sounds that I create for this SID device.
So I want to quickly jump in. Sorry, sir. One Media, is it right that then you're more about sound effects and not music? Is that it?
Not quite. No. I've since 9 years old, I had piano lessons. 9 through age 16, had a private piano. I think a lot of folks have piano instructors show up, but I basically caught on to it, and it wasn't merely a matter of. It certainly wasn't perfunctory. I loved what I was doing when I was learning music. So it was. I can hardly say
the sound. I mean, the sound. I want actually to play a track for you so people can hear it. It's a very unique sound. You can't find it. I mean. It's really something else, and and the intro I wrote sound effects, because we talked about it yesterday as well. It's really could be used for that super good, but I will play a track first so people will hear it. Yeah, that's not a flute. That's a machine.
No. Actually, the flute is actually a Baroque recorder. Some of the industrial kind of sounds you heard back. One of the particular features of the Commodore's sound interface device is this. It has a built-in ring modulation. This is somewhat technical. A ring modulation is a form of modulation where you actually use the output of a device, output of, say, an output stage being fed back into a modulation stage of a modulating amplifier. And it tends to create a lot of, in that case, there were some industrial kind of sounds, especially in the break of the beats there. You'd hear some industrial sounds coming up from the bottom. And it is a wide band sound, so the range of the sound can sound anything like a truck or a piece of industrial equipment, all the way up to having a ringing sound like bottles or bottles being.
Yeah, I know that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
But a machine, I mean, for me, a lot of things you say now, by the way, it's very technical. I have no idea, You have, however, stick to that. And yeah, tell us a little bit how you came to Steemit with your music, actually.
Well, actually, it's interesting. I had, through the '80s, I had been playing with bands and things like that, and of course, I went off to school to learn electrical engineering, and but always had a devout love for music, and jazz. I noticed the folks that noticed the jazz influence in that piece of music. Yeah, I certainly love jazz. But soon after graduating college, I had come to the West Coast, particularly Los Angeles, looking for studio musician, studio engineer work, and eventually settled in Orange County. And through the year of personal computers, the networking, and network cards. Yeah, I've also have experience building 10 base T or 100 TX Ethernet cards. But mainly hardware engineering is what I've done in the past. So besides the assembly language software programming I did to create those sounds, but
parts of music, you can say.
Right.
No?
Yeah. But I've always been involved in music through the '80s. I did about 30 or so recordings. One of them I actually turned into a vinyl, and the vinyl itself features sounds from that same synthesis, the synth. But also, but anyway, sometime around the '90s, I settled down, got a job in Orange County as a regular computer engineer, and had a family, but finally got back to it around just a few years back, around 2015. I started getting back into the Robert Boyer Robert token ring. Actually it's at 10 base T 100 TX. Yeah, old school stuff. Yeah, I got out before I got into gigabit. So, but sometime in the 2015 timeframe, I started doing YouTubes of because I had art that lends itself to music videos, or particularly somewhat fantastic visual, multi-dimensional tessellations, you might say. That work very well with music video, especially music that of this nature, which is a bit psychedelic, you might say. I pull no punches about calling it psychedelic, But so to get finally how did I finally get on the Steam? It was through doing YouTubes. I realized, well, to promote your YouTubes, you do actually need to get on social media. YouTube itself is not a social media platform. In all my naivety, I didn't realize that I'd actually need to promote my music if anyone were to hear it. You just don't put it up on YouTube. So my first foray into social media was actually Google Plus, and that's where I met a fellow Beat Seb, as we know him here on Steam. Well, actually, he was known as Beat Seb until he lost his password. Now he's Beat. He replaced Seb with 5E8, so he's Beat Seb with 5E8. He those of us in the Steam Music Alliance know him for his role as judge in the SML challenge, as well as in the beat battle challenges that we have every week in the SMA Steam Music Alliance.
You know what's funny? It's funny. Actually, when Chief and I just started with the SMA, BitsharesTalk was one of the first people we asked to help with, and I can remember a conversation with BitsharesTalk where he was saying, "Yeah, I know some art people, and I want to bring them as possible as well." And he meant you.
Oh yes, yeah. There was about 5 or 6 of us who got really tight on Google Plus. We were really good friends. Yeah, kind of the same atmosphere that we have in SMA, the Steam Music Alliance. Very supportive. We defend each other if there were any troll attacks, you might say, for our artwork. We became a very tight company, and Beat Seb, basically we call him Seb, came over here to Steam it, and he wrote quite a white paper himself to basically getting us to just get up on the learning curve. Now, unfortunately, it seems as though I was the only one from the Google platform, but although I am still actively cross-post to Google. For instance, I put something on Google, which is basically a link right to my Steam. I post a YouTube post on Google Plus, and then immediately comment the making of, quote unquote, making of blog can be found on Steam. So I'm constantly giving subtle hints, the kind of way the marketing works. You see Steam it enough times, eventually somebody's going to click on it. But unfortunately, I'm the only one who fully took up Seb's offer on coming to Steam it. But he has brought other people. In fact, Divine, the other person on the Needle on the Record show, that our hostess with the mostest on SMA Radio and Needle on the Record show. She is directly from an invite from Seb also. So he did quite a bit of community building himself to, he certainly brought people like myself and especially Divine who are dedicated to building the Steam It community.
True. Yeah, it's nice. It's not super long ago, but I can remember it very clearly.
Yeah,
cool.
that was.
And now I know he's gone. If you speak and say that he has to come back, on Discord and stuff. But shall we listen to another song of yours?
Okay, yeah. I think the other two MP3s I sent you yesterday do have a little bit more. I think this next one will probably have more of what I was describing as the bottle, the clanking sounds and the bottle sounds, the upper limit of the spectrum that this ring modulation of the synth device can create. It's basically the other interesting thing about it is it's joystick controlled. One joystick controls the filter frequency, the other the modulation index for these ring modulators. So it's basically basically a joystick that I rhythmically turn about to get these sounds. But anyway, yeah, let it fly, and maybe it'll give you a better better sense of where the sound's coming from, or what I'm describing, what sounds I'm describing.
Okay, here it comes. Yeah, you see, that's why I mean SFX, those sounds. It's like, a dark movie or something. The scene. I'm learning your music more and more, actually, I must say, because in the beginning, I really had to adapt to it.
Yeah, I guess it is challenging. Yeah, unfortunately, that recording wasn't quite like I said. The spectrum was kind of lost, and it was a bit like the envelope was going up and down as far as the amplitude. It seemed like it was a bit affected by the channel here, but you did get to hear a bit of this. It almost sounds like birds and things like that. Those are some of the sounds that the ring modulation and and like I said, basically joystick controlled sound. It's a program that loops percussion at a particular rate, and the use of the joystick basically changes the filter setting and the modulation, the basically what the frequencies are coming out. That's like either ringing sound or clanking sounds that you hear there.
So you almost play like a game, and then you create your music. That's awesome.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Those it's a looping percussion sound. That right, and it is kind of like a game where you basically use a joystick to whether you want to go, which part of the spectrum you want to particularly you want to focus on at that time. Oftentimes to make it fit in with the rest of the arrangement, with all the other tracks, you basically seek out the part of the spectrum that isn't filled up with other sound at the moment. So I do tend to make rather thick mixes myself.
Yeah, you should perform as well, like we have talked about it, with Ivan back then. There is a market, or there is a music genre which is this actually, but it is on very trippy like festivals you encounter those. Yeah, that's right. You should try that out.
Right. Yeah. In fact, yeah. Yvonne Atman was. In fact, you're going to be involved with the Steam Steam It conference that's going on in Croatia in the beginning of August, I believe. Right. That would certainly be a wonderful place to go, as well as another fellow from the SMA, Steam It Music Alliance, by the name of Paradigm Prospector, has also been talking quite a bit about Ozora Festival in Europe, which would be a really wonderful, fantastic experience for me. It'd be beyond compare. But certainly I'd love to put psychedelic rhythmic sounds out there with everybody else in a festival. No resistance here for that.
It would be really cool though. Hey, but we have another guest. So I don't know if do you want to say something special still, because I'm grateful that you're here, but we have another guest, so we must go on. Actually,
yeah, I just want to say thank you, Savo, for inviting me here, and thank you everyone for sitting through, having a listen, and certainly, Father Earth, I know, has along with Dookie Brownflow, their project. Has been aired on the SMA radio, The Needle on Your Record show. So it's good to see the community branching out to now also the Whaleshares platform. So and now I myself will be more interested in Whaleshares. I thank Chief Mapster for making Whaleshares part of the SML Challenge and Beat Battle prize giveaways. So it's a very effective way of bringing renown to Whaleshares, as well as rewarding the artists who are like-minded to individuals who are prone to go towards Whaleshares. So anyway, thank you everyone, and it's been an honor and a pleasure.
Thanks, One Media, for coming on. It's been great to get to know you a bit more. Appreciate it, and really enjoyed the songs.
Thanks.
Thank you, Freedom Exists. I'm sure I'll be back again because.
I hope so. I really hope so, because they were very intriguing, unique songs.
Oh yeah, thank you. Well, I was going to say just for me to be more part of the Whaleshares community. I do have a holding of Whaleshares myself, so of course I have interest in it now. So.
Personal stake. That's what I like to hear. Good. Well, we'll hopefully see more of you around.
Thank you. We'll do.
Hey, later, man.
Yes.
So next to the next guest, Father Earth. Yes, I never talked to you on voice, I believe, but does your mic work?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. How are you?
Doing great, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm enjoying the show, man. It's I like it already. Also with the beginning, Chief. But Father Earth, we had yesterday a conversation about music production. I think you are a very good producer.
I really appreciate that, man. It means a lot.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
I've been making music on my own now for probably close to 10 years. I do a lot of hip hop related stuff, but also just like a lot of other kind of, I don't know, I branch out a lot. I try not to set any limits on my creativity.
So you are freestyling actually with music as well, a little bit.
More or less, yeah. Whatever ideas come, I don't try to block anything out or limit myself. Just go for it. there's always other songs to be made if it doesn't sound good.
Yeah, but it keeps you also inspired, right? I mean, sticking to one thing, it's not the perfect way. But yeah, I don't know if people know, but Dookie Brownflow is pretty well known already on the platform, and you are his producer. Together, you are second one.
Yeah, that's right, man. Dookie is he's really out here advocating for the blockchain and steaming and stuff. So I was a little reluctant at first. I'm not the most tech savvy guy, I guess you would say. I tend to only be on my computer when I'm like making music or trying to waste time on YouTube or something. So, it's taken me a little bit to get out here. I'm like a blockchain baby, I guess you could say. But yeah, I'm here now.
How long has he pushed you? I mean, everybody has experience of trying to get people to the platform, and then when they don't, it can be very annoying, How long has he tried to get you on here?
Well, he's really new himself as well. I mean, I think he might have like 8 or 9 months under his belt, but pretty much after like the second or third month he was doing it, that's all I hear him talking about is steam it and blockchain and all that. So, I did make an account, but it took me probably another 2 or 3 months to actually start posting. So, within the last 2 months, I've kind of been a little more active.
Shall we listen to a beat and then talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Okay, Father Jones, that's your in the Father Earth. Okay, here comes Lunch Meat from Father Jones.
Bitch. Hey, yo. You don't want beef, niggas lunch meat. Front like you buzzy, but you on Front Street. My niggas causing havoc, we like fuck peace. All my niggas savage, real fucking cheese. Run up in your house like with a fucking cheese. Got my feet all on your couch, your wife is fucking team. Okay, how about the paparazzi? I'm Poppy, that's to your bitch. I'm Poppy one, Poppy, come try me and catch a clip. The diamonds on my frame, you stepping in the mink. Money over bitches is a song I sing. We was kicking doors, free my niggas locked in the bank. We was shopping pies, chopping dimes, all for the win. Been about to slide, hoping that they pardon my sins. Scully and Tim's, make the coke jump out the gym. Dope got him high as fuck, got him touching the rim. Fuck it, I'm in. Gang banging cousins and brims, trays and canes. Might make $1 million a day. Freedom isn't free, probably why I feel like a slave. If it's chain swinging, dope slanging. Snuck my niggas in the party with the bangers. Swear my mama should've off me with a hanger. Couldn't kill me softly if Mrs. Hill sang it. Fast like shorty, Newports and 40s. All up in the mix, trying to fuck somebody's daughter. Walking on water, drugs got me coughing. That's better than the cough. Used to die way too often, still ride with it on me. In case you niggas want it, in case you niggas try, somebody gotta die. Yeah, my riders, they gon' ride for me. Slide up and they gon' slide for me. Come home and catch your body for free and go do the time for me. I know that grandma's watching me. Groupios trying to plot on me. Never lie to me. Keep it 7 past 93. Feeling like I hit the lottery. Preem with the wallabies. That's how it gotta be. Yeah, I'm a prodigy. Try to say it modestly. Fuck you and the last niggas that shot at me. You don't want beef, niggas lunch me. Frontin' like you bussy, but you on Front Street. My niggas causing havoc, we like fuck peace. All my niggas savage, real fucking G's. Run up in your house like with a fucking cheese. Got your feet all on your couch, your wife is fucking team. Okay, how about the paparazzi? I'm Poppy, that's to your bitch. I'm Poppy one, Poppy, come try me and catch a clip.
That's really fat. Yeah, that's awesome, man. I'm trying to get some, myself actually in that direction. It's cool. It's really cool. So now you're on Steam, mate.
Yeah, I'm here now.
what's your experience until now for as a musician? With these kinds of quality. How was it going actually? I'll search your profile.
It's going. I still need to be more active. You know what I mean? But I'm out here trying to balance real life and blockchain life. But I'm getting better at it.
Yeah, I must admit that maybe it's because you want to make beats actually instead of writing a post, with text, right?
Exactly.
Have you? I saw you also were on tune already as with Second Womb. Tell us a little bit about that. How did you meet with Dookie actually? Because you both together are a very good duo, I must say.
Thanks, man. Yeah, so I just want to say real quick too, that last one you just played is actually from a project. So I gave you all unreleased tracks to play on here today. That one is a project. It's a five song EP that we're getting ready to put out. It's me, and the rapper is a friend of mine by the name of Ray Jones. He's based out of San Diego right now. He's actually from the Philadelphia area originally, but he lives out there now. So yeah, just get that out of the way. But as far as Second Womb goes, I finished college. I went to school for audio engineering, and I was interning at Sigma Sound Studios in Philly. And I was working with a singer by the name of Jordan Banks. He's done quite a bit of stuff, but I was basically like his kind of personal engineer when he would come through there. We had a good working relationship. And one night, just by happenstance, he brought two of his friends, and they were just sitting in on the session. And then, as a favor to him, he asked me if I could, record a song for them after we were done. And I was like a little bit reluctant. I was like trying to get home. It was like 2, 3 in the morning. But one of those people actually wound up being Dookie, and we were like kind of just vibing out, playing some tracks for each other. And then next thing you know, we're talking, and we find out we live 10 minutes from each other. And it was just like, that was it. It was on from there.
All coincidence then as well, right? I mean, that's how it goes in life, apparently.
Yeah, it's crazy too. We were actually just talking about it the other day, kind of reminiscing. And he told me something I didn't know before. And he was saying like, he was like really thinking about not going to the studio that day. He was saying how he didn't want to go out that night and all this. So I'm glad it happened.
Yeah, we all are. Yeah, man. What do you think of Whaleshares, by the way? Because you are for the first time here. What you have heard? What is your impression actually?
It seems really cool. I mean, I learned a lot just from the first part of the show, all kind of like the info sections and stuff, and all the stuff Bushkill was saying. I found the B stuff really interesting too, aside from the Whaleshares. But yeah, I mean, it seems cool. I have a lot to learn with everything, but especially with this Whaleshare stuff. But I got the link that was posted earlier with all the FAQ and all that, so I'm going to be reading up after this show.
And your beats, I just started a label actually, to distribute to Spotify and stuff. And your beats are actually super hot, and I want to release them, for the Whaleshares to promote. Is that possible? And I want to hear another one, man.
Yeah, we could set something up for sure, man. We'll talk.
Okay, cool. I will play another beat of yours, and this is all unreleased stuff, so it's super exclusive.
Yeah, which one are you gonna play? I'll do a little intro for it.
Rough Master.
What's the first track or the first word in that?
Nothing.
Okay, yeah. So this is all me singing and stuff too. I'm working on like a solo project, so this is something from that, a Father Earth exclusive.
Okay, here it comes. Wait, that doesn't sound here. That doesn't belong like that, or what are you saying? Because then I just put it off.
No, that's cool, but the quality just sounds super weird on here.
Oh no, okay. Yeah, it's Discord, it's 96 KB. Go back. Sorry about the interference.
Yeah, we'll let it rip.
Oh, that's a shame, Savo, because the first song was fine. What's wrong with this one?
I don't know.
There's just like a gnarly synthesizer in there.
Let it play though, Savo, yeah?
Trip hop. I recently learned it, and I like it. I must say though.
Hang on. I need to know. Is what I just heard, is that trip hop?
I don't really know, man, to be honest with you. Probably not traditional hip hop. Yeah, that's me. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think it falls into the traditional classification of trip hop, but I think it meets some requirements of the genre.
I like it very much indeed. So, what would you how would you class that song then?
Oh boy, I don't know. It's tough. I really hate to not to sound pretentious or anything, but I don't know. I really hate trying to classify my music. I'm just super bad with genres in the first place. I don't know. Maybe indie electronic with some hip hop stuff.
Now that sounds an interesting mix indeed.
Yeah, I'm trying to, because that's going to be for my solo project, which is still kind of very much in its infancy. But yeah, I'm trying to do something a little bit different than all the stuff I have out right now with Second Womb and then the Father Jones project that's coming out. Try to do something a little more laid back and I want it to be sort of nostalgic feeling, but not from any sort of era at the same time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, well, it's funny you mentioned that in terms of your difficulty you had then in trying to classify your own music. I mean, I remember going back to years ago, and I was hanging around with people who were really into music in various different ways, and I remember having this massive argument with someone and saying, surely you can create new music, and he said, no, all music that is created is literally a creation from other styles. You cannot create your own new genre. It's impossible. Would you agree with that or not?
Yes and no. I think definitely everything I create is, to some degree, my brain's own interpretation of everything it's heard before. But the fact that it's being filtered through my mind and all the other experiences I've had, it comes out as its own sort of thing. So it's true and not, because a lot has been done in music, a lot. We've been, recorded music's really old at this point. So it's kind of tough, but I don't think it's impossible to make new music.
We just had actually One Media, right? He with his own device. But I must say, I have had an experience like that. What you just said about, just do whatever comes, and not be thinking about it. And then I ended up actually with jazz stuff, and maybe Freedom's friend is right. I think you have always an idea where you want to go. And to come these days with new music styles is actually really, really hard, because in a lot of styles, they repeat each other. They reinvent themselves and then are actually called a new style, which if you go back a couple of reinventions, then you find the same one.
Right. For sure. And like, I don't like my goal in a way is to kind of, when people hear my stuff, like I want to develop my own sound. I don't necessarily want to like be directly related with any one genre. Like when I want people, like when people hear my music to not say like, oh, this is trip hop or this is hip hop. Like I want them to know that it's Father Earth, basically. You know what I mean? Like I want to be the label associated with my sound, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get you. So yeah, these were all Father Earth tracks, people. So yeah, but music styles, if you look at the tune, there are way too many. It's, I just call it beats. But I want to hear another one.
Yeah, let's do it. The next one is some unreleased Second Womb stuff. So we're working on a project right now. So this will probably most likely be on it.
Awesome. Savo, after this one, can you hand back to me because I need to wrap up? All right.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, thank you, by the way, already. Then we go through with Freedom after this. Here comes Second Womb. Constellations. Yeah, Constellations.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you tuning in tonight with us at WSSW FM 101.3 on your radio dial. Word. Thank you. I'm your host, DJ Janky Frank. Now you are tuned into the flyest shit you could ever have on the radio, at least. Yeah, I got a couple joints I want to play, a couple things I want to say.
Wrong track.
Wrong track.
We're good. You can let it rock. I'm fine with
it. You sent those to me, but I will pay it through.
Cannot talk about on the radio, but I'm just gonna get it. Word.
Right hand was a surfing, homie is counterfeit. Someone's lurking, showing hints in his actions. I feel to notice, ignore mistaken hissing. For melodic is toxic. I level fog up the optics, switch up, polish the vision, mission to rock every city. Spitting as vicious as ever, sitting in silence, the tune with all of my deepest endeavors. Figure to feel, still sitting till the feeling is real. Flight to the hills or fighting fire for a life in the field. Feel it, my nigga. Fuck your ears, I need your innards to listen. Fluent flow of the healthy living, clear intentions of spitting that shit with precision and hitting your fourth chakra. I'ma do what I gotta, mama. Not too fine of the bottom, I promise, mama, I'll stay in honor while gripping these comments, stripping my conscience and aura of every blockage before it. This type of topic is foreign. If there's no custom in exploring your spirit, tell the truth. Do you feel it or fear it? When the stars are aligned and the moon is just right and the mood is set right. Don't think just right your life away. Pray that we see a brighter day. Right your wrongs until you find a way. On that day, right wrongs for the ones who can't find their way. Fight on for the ones who learn to fly today. Use the boost as a hideaway. Spread your wings, homie, fly away. Maybe I'm too forgiving. Seems each relation I've been in is beneficial to them while I'm stuck in limbo. Look at them as kinfolk. Let your guard down and be impaled with a pitchfork. penetration of arteries. Heart will bleed, still I feel your presence, that your soul is a part of me. Partially I hesitate with energies resonating at different speeds. Maybe I'm naive in believing they want the best for me, especially a one who lives in tune with the lesser being, cooking up recipes to embody success. Now my achievements are neither needing approval, though I confess that gratitude is taken and harnessed in to tackle any monster who has garnished the tarnishment, repelling the fraudulence while enveloping awesomeness. Opposed to those in target range will notice the marvelous. To those who had part in it but decided to partner with opposition, sincerely wish you well. Spiritually will prevail. When the stars are aligned and the moon is just right and the mood is set right. Don't think just right your life away. Pray that we see a brighter day. Right your wrongs until you find a way. On that day, right wrongs for the ones who can't find their way. Fight on for the ones who learn to fly today. Use the booth as a hideaway. Spread your wings, homie, fly away.
Yeah, you know, I listen to the instrumental always, you know, dope. Really. Sorry about that, by the way, with the wrong track, but I made a playlist here, so it was easier to play this one. But I want to thank you for being here, and yeah, let's do some stuff together, man. I can learn from you, you know, and that's cool, man, because those sounds are fat.
Absolutely, man. We can learn from each other. You know, thanks a lot, man. Thanks, Freedom, Savo, Cheap Master, Bushkill, you know, everybody, man. Thanks to Whaleshares. I'm glad to be here.
I'm really glad that you are here.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Father Earth. Been brilliant.
So, Freedom, back to you then.
Thank you, Savo. Thank you for another interesting music session, I have to say. Your first guest, One Media, that's the most unique music I think you've brought to this show, but fantastic stuff. So thank you for that. Right, so I am going to move on to the last segment of the show. And of course, it is a bit of cruel curation. And why not? Why not, eh? Let's push the boundaries. For those, I think most of you know how this goes, but for those of you that don't, I'm just gonna pick on a few people, ask a few people to present posts like they would do in my other show, and they can talk about them. And then, I'm going to get everybody in the room to rate them, and I want to assess them. And the person who gets the highest marks will get 15 Beyond Bits. I suggest you hold on to your Beyond Bits for the time being. I wouldn't sell them, but check out the market price and you'll understand why. But hold on to them. Maybe give yourself an upvote. You get more. It's more value for an upvote. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And this week, I want you. What am I going for in terms of assessment? We'll have 1 to 10. Mark 0 to 10. That's what I want. Okay. So that's what we're going to do. And I'm going to start then, and I'm going to start with I'm going to start with Whaleshares Bodyguard. I got a question for him. Whaleshares Bodyguard, are you there? Marshall, speak.
Yes, I am here.
Hello, Marshall. How are you?
Greetings, Freedom. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. I just want to quickly pick up on that little chat we had about Eminem. Do you not like him?
No, Eminem is my mentor. I love him and I like him. In fact, he's my buddy, you know? My buddy.
What? Do you like him or not?
I love him.
Really? Because I got the impression a moment ago you didn't like him.
No, I love Eminem. It's just that I was just trying to tell you that he's an alien, you know, the way he raps, trying, you know, all those tracks and trying to, like, Eminem rap very different from other rappers. Like, he have some stuff and Nicki said about him, saying that they sent him an instrumental for him to, like, they want to collaborate with him, but he had to tell them that they should send something like him. So they said he should send something like, he said to them that they should send something like him, meaning that maybe they gave him something about love and all this stuff. And Eminem doesn't rap much about love, unless he's rapping about love, that he's going to stab his wife at last. So it's just way out of what rappers always think. He's out of the box.
I think I got the gist of that. But there's some people in here who certainly don't like Eminem. But there we go. Right. Okay. What have you got? We're going to pick on you. What have you got? You ready for some abuse?
Yeah. I got a contest Sivo, Eminem is the greatest of all time. He's the rap god, man. You know about him.
Oh, yeah, but this is it. Eminem's a bit of a divisive character. You see, Warrison, some people don't like him, and others do love him. I think he's all right. I have to say, I for what he did. I mean, doesn't seem to be doing much now, but he kind of changed the game a little bit, I suppose, for a white guy.
Yeah, for a white guy, most of the hip hop legend, we are all blacks, and Eminem changed the game, with the way he swings his flows, and I won't lie you, Nas and Eminem, I can compare Nas and Eminem before I do compare them, but now I think Eminem is the greatest of all time. Nas is among the greatest, but you can't stage Eminem and Nas because Eminem got a whole lot of stuff going on. He has won a lot of Grammys many times, and he was the one who stepped out of the game. And when he came back, he said the game never changed for him. But other rappers can't even attack him. And when he came back, he still took up the Grammy. So it's like music is his playground, rap is his playground, and no rapper does it better than he did it. About my post.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. The post is about I have another campaign I'm running for, a project. The project was a ERC20 project called it was an Ethereum token called BOD token, but they had to swap. They swap from BOD token to BOD coin. Now they are coin. They have to swap from BOD token to a privacy coin, and the is built on CryptoNote. And CryptoNote is known for its technology of security and private kind of stuff. Also like Spence Coin and Monero, they are all privacy coins. So I spoke they spoke with me actually, and they told me that I should campaign the project on Twitter like I do for most crypto projects. So my team are on Twitter promoting the stuff daily, just for 2 weeks or 1 week, I think. And I'm just trying to just go over on Steam, trying to just recruit some people if they could do some promotion with us, and then some little token. It's just I already put what they are going to tweet there, so anybody will go there and tweet those stuff. I will send them a token to their BitShares, and the token that they are going to get is a pocket token. And actually, the main aim of the post is just to promote both token also, but don't get it mistaken, because both token is switching or swapping to both coin. They are now swapping to CryptoNote technology of privacy. That's just all about the post.
Okay, I must admit I don't know much about the Atlas team, but it seems that they're pushing crypto in general as opposed to focusing on one project. Is that right?
Yeah, the just project Atlas is still under development. It's just to promote crypto project. Like, bring your project to us, and we'll try our best to promote it on Twitter. Actually, for now, it's on Twitter, but I'm planning on pushing it to other social medias like Facebook, Reddit, and all the stuff. But it's just hard to take gradual process, and it will be done if our website could be done. If the website is completed, we haven't started the website yet, but I'm still looking for people to dev to help build the website. So when it's done, we can start recruiting people. People can start registering on the website, and mass media promotion can occur only on crypto projects. So I just hope the drinking culture, but we're pushing it gradually.
Alrighty, awesome stuff. Okay, guys, judge unto others as you would wish to be judged yourselves. Please go ahead, give me a score, 0 to 10. What do you think of Marshall's post? Is it worthy of a 9? It certainly is for Sweeney Guy. Is it worthy of 13? Oh dear, we're getting into sort of obscure territory already, but why not? Hey, it's expected. But that's a good score, 13. Yes, absolutely. There is. I have to say, going through this post, effort has been put into it for sure. 9.5 is a legitimate score. Okay. Any other scores? 7 point. What's this, Savo, you're sending me? 8.4591 from Brujo. On a scale of 0 to 10, I give it a... Is that a 1? Do we take that as a 1?
It's 1.
Okay, we'll take that as a 1. Savo, what's your score, by the way?
1. No, it's 0 to 10, right? Or wasn't it like that? Sorry, I wasn't.
Yeah, so 0 being crap, 10 being amazing.
Yeah, 7.5 is this.
If you could just type that in the chat, that would be great. So when I check back later, there can be. Oh, you're in general? No, we're in curation lounge still. Whack it in there.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's still not there. There we go. 7,5. 7.5, I guess. Okay. There we go. Thank you very much for that, Marshall. Interesting post indeed. I'm going to pick on. Who else can I pick on? I better try Crystal. She's usually up for it. Crystal, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hello, Crystal. Would you like to take some abuse?
Sure, I like to take abuse. A sentence I only say on these kind of.
But do you know what? So far, people are being quite generous, so you might be all right.
Definitely. My contest is pretty much the winners from the contest I did, and I really love the entries because these were artists that were more traditional artists. Because sometimes on Steam all you see are digital, because obviously that's a lot easier to put on Steam But there was a lot. I had one was a comic. Others was like an arts and crafty sort of one. And then the other's been like watercolors and stuff like that. I really love because there's something about traditional art I think you don't see as much as you used to.
Yeah, absolutely, Crystal. This is amazing. I didn't know you were doing this contest, but I think it's a great contest. You're right. A lot of the stuff we see is not traditional art. Fantastic, though, a lot of it is. But yeah, this is really interesting. When did you open this contest?
It was about a week ago. I always try to give, because a lot of times I give it a couple days after the contest is over, because some people always forget to give me their BitShare names. So that was always fun. And I always try to give on my winners announcement page, as you'll see there, a shout out to the Stimians that were chosen. Like, get a post like in this. She did steampunk art, and the one person I did a picture of his comic because he's using Steam to fund, his comic, and I think that's kind of cool that crypto can actually help you to do.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, go on.
No, I was just gonna say, those were the entries, and I just did that, so it kind of gives the artist, hey, here's a post you should check out that's recent. Because I normally try to pick people that are on Steam, like even when SPD's $1, they're here when it's rough. I try to give shout out to those people because they're sticking it through the rough part of the Steam journey, and that's what I love to do.
Awesome. You got a boat or a yacht from Walrus, but you're getting some high scores here. Yeah, I'm going to come back to that post in a moment. Crystal knows what it might be, but I think that's a great post, Crystal, that you've done there. As I say, traditional art isn't often sort of in rich supply, but it's nice to see some in a post. So thank you for that. Great post. Go ahead, guys, for those of you that haven't already, 0 to 10. And I think that's a really nice post. I'm pleased you did that contest, Crystal. Very nice. Right. Okay. So you're getting all high scores. I think so far. Yes. Okay. 69. What's 6, 9? I don't know. Which is it? 6 or 9? Who knows? Anyway, right. Just following on though from that post. What's Walrus putting now? I don't know if he's not making much sense tonight, really. I don't know what's going on with Walrus, but a Titanic, and then we get the symbol. I was thinking, was he thinking like star signs? But is the symbol? Is that the star sign? I didn't know that for Cancer. Oh, well, there we go. I've learnt that. Yes, that was one of the pictures in her post, and it is a great post indeed. Right. I'm going to put up, following on from Crystal's post, I really do need to put this in. It was from Cookian, and she's a great illustrator. She really is. And she did something a bit daring. It's a guide on how you can draw dicks, and you know she doesn't beat about the bush. she just, you know, she gets it all out there. You know, in full graphic illustrations. There it all is. But it's one of the most unique posts I've come across in a long time. And Crystal just reminded me, and I thought I'm going to have to share it in here. We were talking about it in general earlier, but what a post! Cookkin's amazing, and she's quite frank with certain things, and penises being one of them. And she can tell you all how to draw one anyway, if you want to know. There it is. Have a look. Yes, Walrus, you're going to have to find a really special emoji for that one. But I thought you guys might find that quite amusing, as I did. But in fairness, though, taking the serious side of it, she's put a lot of effort into it, as she always does. She's an amazing, I don't know how graphic designer, I don't know what she'd call herself, artist, but she's absolutely amazing. So check it out. Right, I'm going to pick on one more, and then I'm going to move on. Who am I going to pick on? Brujo, are you there? Oh, Brujo, you were flashing, but nothing's coming out of your mic. Brujo, you there? We just about heard you.
Now you can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Brujo. How are you?
Fine, thank you. And you?
I'm good. Have you got a post?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Here. There it is in the chat.
Okay, tell us more.
Don't worry, it has a SoundCloud link this time.
Okay, but do tell us about your song. I think it's a song.
Yes. So last week I put in an entry to the beat battle. The counters, for the counters you have to do a soul. So I decided to make one, but I didn't like the result of the final bit, so I decided to remix. I remixed my own song, and that's the result. And I'm really happy about how the beat turned out at the end.
Yeah, well, I'd like to listen to it if possible. Hopefully, this is the same scenario as last week. God, this is deja vu. I can't believe it. So can you, Savo, how are you going to play this tune?
Yeah, if it's working, it's working. Do you hear something?
Yes.
I got the loud style, always been a loud child. My guns so good, moving, your guns go out. I'm known to have a body open. I keep the shotty smoking. Front get half the bones in your body broken. And when it comes to getting nookie, I'm not a rookie. I got those that make that chick Tony Black to look like rookie. I work with dirty pics, I'm never hit with dirty chicks. Got 35 bodies, buddy, don't make it go to 6. So put it on, big down, put it on. Come on, put it on, and on, and on. Come on, put it on, big down, put it on. Come on, put it on, represent, put it on, come on.
Awesome. Nice tune there, Brujo. Finally, we hear a tune from you. I thought it was going to go the same way as last week, but thanks for that. Great tune. Great post. Very good indeed. Go ahead, guys. Please rate the post and the song out of 10. I'm pleased we finally managed to hear the song from Brujo. 11, yeah, why not? Good tune indeed. 9.1, nice and specific. I do like the specifics there, Marshall. Walrus is scared of 0 to 10. Oh dear, man, you're being weird again. 9, okay, good. Some good scores there. Any more? Because I'm going to wrap up, I think. And I think on that note, I am going to wrap up. Yeah, well, Marshall, Walrus is being odd, isn't he? I don't know what's going on there, but yeah, maybe you can, Savo. You want to give it a try, you go ahead, but maybe next week. But that's it, guys. Thank you very much to everybody who came. I know it's been quite amongst all the shows on the server. As I said, summer and all that. It's going to get a bit quieter, but thank you guys for turning up. Appreciate it. Means a lot to me. And go ahead now and DM me your BitShares username, and I'll get you all a few EasyDex.pb tokens in just a moment. So go ahead and DM me now your BitShares username. And that wraps up tonight's show. It's been amazing. I just want to thank my main contributors again, Chief Mapster and Savo. Awesome job. Also want to thank my special guest tonight, which was Bushkill. Fantastic to learn more about Bushy. Great guy. So thank you for coming on, Bushkill. It's been good seeing you again, learning more about the bees, even more about the bees, more respect for them than I had before. So thank you, Bushy, for coming on. And also must thank Walrus for giving us a nice news update at the beginning of the show. But that wraps up this show. Don't forget, DM me your BitShares username. And what we've got coming up next? Tomorrow, Friday, is the EasyDeck show with Sir Lunch, the host, who has just popped in. Isn't that nice? Good timing. He's doing his EasyDeck show tomorrow. So that will be on the EasyDeck server. And that is, remind me of the time, someone, please. I always forget the damn time. Is it 8 p.m. UTC? I think it is. Anyway, speak to 4 p.m. EST. So that must be, yeah, I think that's 8 p.m. UTC, yeah. Anyway, 4 p.m. EST, that's on the EasyDeck server with Sir Lunch, the host. And then there's my next show, the Promote Your Post show, on Sunday. So until then, guys, I hope you have a good few days. And I shall see you all soon. Take care.